Good morning. I didn't have any Q&A questions, so I'm just going to kind of rattle off some things. And if anybody joins me, they can ask me live questions. I am so cold today. In Texas, it is 56 degrees. So for me, that's in Fahrenheit too. I know some of y'all are overseas, but for us, that's pretty cold. And it's nice to see that fall starting to kind of kick in. Of course, that also means all the good foods come out, and it just makes it even more important to actually have that subconscious mind in check when it comes to all the treats and sweets and things that are around this time of year. All right, so since I really don't have any questions, I'm just gonna, like I said, rattle off some things about hypnosis. Maybe go over some questions that y'all might have regarding the recordings and things like that. To give you kind of a rundown of what hypnosis is. I mean, I know you've already some of you have gone through the recordings, but you may have seen hypnosis portrayed in a certain way in movies or media. It's not like this deep sleep blackout state. You don't lose all your inhibitions and awareness and morals. There's no mind control. There's no truth serum. You'll never be stuck in a trance or do things you do not fully want to do. In fact, you are fully aware in a state of hypnosis, even more like hyper aware. So you're able to respond if you need to. You can adjust your position. You can itch your nose, open your eyes, come out of hypnosis at any time. If you feel like even like thoughts are running through, like when you think of meditation, they want like all the thoughts to be completely gone, and it's super hard for us to do, especially in society today, because we're never like take these moments to just chill and really sink into our body and turn off our minds. So it's common for a lot of people to think that they can't meditate because they have these thoughts that are still running through. So when it comes to hypnosis, your senses will become sharper and clearer than in your normal state of awareness. And then, of course, repeated hypnosis, the more times that you do it, the better that you get at it. So when it comes to going into a induction for the very first time, it might be a little bit harder for you to do, but the more times that you do it, the easier that you go in and the deeper that you go in. So it's also one of the reasons why my clients, I'm having them go through these recordings first before we actually do a one-on-one session, because then they kind of get used to going into a trance. They get used to my methods and my voice and the way that we go into a trance, and their subconscious mind is already primed for it. So once we get to that part where we're doing one-on-ones, they tend to go deeper. And then, of course, the hypno affirmations and actually speaking to the subconscious is more effective. And then as far as going into hypnosis, one can learn to relax the body, replace negative thoughts with more powerful positive ones. It also feels good because your tensions are being released. Your breathing becomes more rhythmic. There's a lot of stress and strain out there in the world, so this just feels good. So people that have anxiety, or they're constantly on edge, or just like in this constant like fight or flight mode, where everything's just like tension and hard for like their minds are running a million miles a minute. Hypnosis, they actually go into hypnosis a lot easier because the body craves this state so much, because we're in this constant state of just like madness, I'd say. And So once you actually do get into hypnosis, it goes in a lot faster, a lot easier, and it likes to stay there. Hypnosis is a natural state. Many feel like it's not, like it's something that they have to achieve, but it's a lot like daydreaming. So it's actually a brainwave state called theta. So there's several different states that your brain goes into day by day that can be measured by brain waves. So beta is your normal awake, alert, conscious state. Brain waves are short and spiky and fast. Alpha is when you're relaxed but drowsy, and the waves are short and spiky, but they're more spaced apart. And then delta is when you're in a dreamless sleep with loss of body awareness. So when you're dead asleep, waves are even more spaced out apart. And then theta is right in between that alpha and delta. So you're not quite asleep, but in a deeply relaxed meditative state. So you're reduced consciousness to the things around you. And then the waves are short, but they're more spaced out. So just kind of in between those two. You might not even feel like you're in a hypnotic state. So hypnosis occurs several times a day without us even knowing. So right when we're first starting to wake up, or right when we're about to go to sleep, you can zone out while driving down the highway. A lot of people know about highway hypnosis. Or if you're reading a book or getting into a movie, like really getting into the plot of it. Those are all common states of hypnosis. So much like meditation, it does put you in a relaxed state. And like I said, you may continue to think thoughts during the session, or you may go with the flow of my words. And then a common misconception is that I'm taking you into hypnosis. And that's false. It's actually you're taking yourself into hypnosis. So all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. I am acting as a guide, and you take yourself in as deeply as you allow yourself to go. So you're always in control. Therapeutic hypnosis, it helps people take better control of their lives. So you're tapping into that subconscious mind. It's kind of like unlocking a door to your inner self that cannot be reached through the critical factor of your conscious mind. So it's more effective than other modalities because we're really tapping straight into that subconscious. In fact, a study from Harvard shows that it takes 600 sessions of talk or behavioral therapy to reach a 38% improvement. Whereas with hypnosis sessions, when you're diving into one specific topic and you're really honing into the subconscious and talking to somebody, so like more personalized sessions, it only takes 6 sessions on one topic to reach a 93% improvement. So basically you're exercising your control, you're allowing the hypnosis process to empower you. Even though you feel like you might not be hypnotized, you know that you were when you start to see results in the next few days. So it's actually, you'll feel good coming out of the session, like just right away, but it can take up to 3 days for you to really see the results. So that's another thing, like too, like some people just think that it doesn't work, but like even if small changes start to happen over 3 days, it's just showing you that it is working in the back of your mind without you really consciously being aware of it. And then, let's see, when it comes to breath work, so I've been putting breath work into my inductions because it does kind of help you go into trance, and it also helps to release a lot of that negative energy in our body on the somatic level. So help us relax a little bit more. It's funny because we come out of the womb knowing how to breathe. So we first, when we're babies, we'll breathe in through our bellies and then our chest, and we take full deep breaths. And then somewhere along the way, we forget this. We start to breathe shallowly in the top of our chest. We hold our breath, and this affects our brain chemistry. They actually showed in a study, I believe it was Harvard as well, but people with anxiety, when you're having an anxiety attack or a panic attack, the blood flow to your brain actually is reduced by 50%. That's why it's hard to think, hard to, like, you get dizzy, and it's hard to control those panic attacks. So when we're in that state, like, it's as far as taking deep breaths, like, we have to try to calm ourselves down so that we can start to get that oxygenation in our bloodstream again and really be able to think about what we're doing. The process of breath work, so when you are taking these double deep breaths, and y'all probably haven't seen as much in this group. I do it more in the VIP group where I record the sessions and put them in there. But you're taking the 2 deep breaths, so in through your belly, in through the chest, and then 1 passive exhale out. And that's actually pushing out more of the CO2, and it oxygenates your blood a lot more. So what happens when you're doing breath work and you're doing this a lot more, or for a prolonged period of time, and you're really oxygenating your blood, is your body has this response to where it starts to feel kind of tingly all over. Some people might get like it's called tetany, where their hands will cramp up, and that actually happens to me sometimes when I'm going in for a longer session. But it's not like a alarming cramping or contracting. But it's just something to notice, like getting lightheaded too. But it's just you're oxygenating, and then you're also releasing all that negative stuck energy in the body. So like afterwards, when you come out, you feel really euphoric. You feel like you can do anything. You feel really good. So it takes you into a trance, just like hypnosis does. And increasing the oxygen to your brain and throughout your circulatory system gives you that feel-good, euphoric feeling, and in turn can sorry, I'm losing my voice because it's cold now. It's been shown to reduce anxiety and overwhelm, and like even increase like focus and memory. It can energize you. So what I like to do is I will do breath work in the morning to kind of wake myself up, and then I will, after the breath work, I kind of chill for about 10 to 20 minutes, because you're in such a hyper aware and feel good state that it really helps to like do positive affirmations and things like that, so that you can really believe that you can succeed in this world. Let's see, what else might be a question? We already kind of talked about how effective hypnosis is, and with breath work, I mean, that's also another super effective thing. They don't have specific studies on like weight loss, or even just how well people do after having a session of breath work, because it is kind of a newer thing. But there has been studies shown that it can reduce anxiety and depression and things like that. If you feel like you can't relax enough in hypnosis, I have found that it is a lot easier to relax with breath work, because you're focusing on the breathing. So it's those 2 deep breaths, 1 breath out, and you're kind of counting down in your head, and you're just focusing on what you're doing with the breathing. That it's just you're not focusing on all the thoughts and all the outside world things. So it is a lot easier to go into trance that way. And that's also another reason why I started incorporating it into my inductions, because I could get somebody more comfortable, especially when they're wound up about, what is hypnosis going to be like, and what kind of deep dark secrets is she going to learn about me. And it's really not about that. Like it's being able to release everything. um Breath work, there are some contraindications. So if you are pregnant, that is definitely a no-go for that. Hypnosis, you can do it, but not breath work, because you don't want to ever really change the oxygen that's getting to the baby, or the blood that's getting to the baby. So it's not something that is recommended at all. There is some other conditions too that you can do breath work with, but you don't want to go necessarily as deep into it. So if you have like cardiovascular problems or blood pressure abnormalities, like high or really low blood pressure, not controlled, history of aneurysms, epilepsy, seizures, and then some psychiatric symptoms such as psychosis or paranoia, bipolar depression, even osteoporosis, recent surgeries, especially too. You don't want to like be breathing deeply if you have stitches as well. And then glaucoma, which was interesting to me. But these are all things that, while they may be contraindications for going super deep into breath work, you can still do it. Just take some more reset breaths, or don't go as fast as far as the breathing, or like super deep into it. But what else? What else? What else? How often should you listen to the recordings? That is a question I do get. Or in what order, or however many. So it's going to be whatever feels right to you. With each recording each day, it is covering a different subject. Of course, there are some people that all subjects will not, or some people where they don't need every single subject, like binge eating. Some people might not binge eat. Some people might not have a lot of weight to lose, so they don't want to lose weight while they're sleeping, but they want to more so just be more comfortable with food or certain things that are around them. So if there is one recording that really speaks to you a lot more than other recordings, then you can listen to that one for 7 days in a row is usually the recommended length, but however long you want. Or you could just go through each recording day by day and then circle back and do the ones that you really like, or the ones that really speak to you. It's really up to you. There's no rhyme or reason. Like I said, the more times that you do it, though, the better that you get at it. They are little 10-minute recordings. I tried to keep them short so that everybody could do them, because I know we're all busy. The most effective time to really do them, like I said when I was talking about the times that you are mostly in theta, is when you're first waking up or about to go to sleep. So it is a lot easier to go into trance during those times. I do have the one that is while you're sleeping, and that is the day 7 recording. It's okay if you fall asleep during any of the other recordings. It's not totally recommended, because when you are asleep, you don't absorb as much of the affirmations as you would when you're in that trance-like state. However, you still absorb some. So if you listen to a specific recording every single night and you're going to sleep every single night while you're doing it, you're still getting some of it, and each time you'll get a little bit more. That being said, your subconscious is super sneaky. So if you are listening to a specific recording over and over and over and over again, and it gets so used to it that it kind of drowns it out and doesn't listen to it anymore, then that is an indication that you might have to kind of switch it up a little bit, or even look at doing a personalized session so that your subconscious mind kind of pays attention. But something we got, it always keeps us on our toes, right? But I think that's all I can think about right now as far as questions. I see that there was one person that popped on for a second, but if anybody has any questions that's here, or if you want to, I can make another post and we can just do this kind of every week. If there's any new questions that pop up or something you want reiterated or anything like that, like I'm happy to answer any and all questions, live or otherwise. Help y'all through, especially the holidays, man. This is the time where I'm kind of like, I think everybody too, but sweets was always my thing. And this is every year it comes around, like I have it in the back of my mind that, it's the holidays. Why not? But also the reason why I wanted to work on myself, and the reason I did all these things to really help myself. All right. Well, I'm going to cut this off now, and I will pin this to the top. Again, if there is any questions, just pop it into the post for next week. Bye, guys.